Hi guys, welcome back. Okay, so we are all having a ton of fun with our foiling. All right, so I want to show you guys in today's video on how to use regular dies. So this is what we're going to do. I have already hot foiled some sentiments. So we just want to add a little bit of decoration to those sentiments. Okay, here's two of them here I want to use. Okay, so for example, this was a love sentiment I did. This is a Spellbinders hot foil stamp. Okay, and I did that with some, I believe that is Go Press and foil. All right, but I want to add some hearts around this. So these are some little heart dies I have. I think these might be Lawn Fawn. Okay, so I'm going to do is just cut these apart. If I can get my little trimmers in there, hold on. So these are regular dies. These are not hot foil dies. And there's two ways you can use regular dies, just depending on the die. I'm going to give you guys two examples today. And the first way is to using the regular cutting side, okay? So what I mean by that is if you were to run this through a die cut machine right now, it would cut all of the little hearts out, right? So we don't want to do that. We just want a heart impression on everything. So we're going to put our machine on low. We want 15 seconds because we are using regular Gemini paper craft foil. This is called Silver Shimmer. It's really pretty. And this has already been foiled. This is ready to go. And actually you can do this two ways. I'm going to do this a different way. I'm actually just going to kind of scatter my hearts around, cutting side up on my plate here. Just randomly put those down. Now, this is not going to cut, and the reason it's not going to cut is because we're not giving it enough pressure to cut. So we're just randomly scattering these hearts kind of around where we think that word love is going to be, right? Okay, so then we're going to put our foil, and again, I just already have my foil cut down. We want it pretty side down, ugly side up. We're going to put our card down. Now you can, if you wanted to be real proper about this, you could line your hearts up and use some Post-it tape to tape them in place. But I'm just giving you a demonstration. And now we're going to do regular foiling with it. So we don't have any extra shims or anything. We're going to hit start. It's ready to go. It's green on low. Regular Gemini foil runs on a lower temperature at a shorter setting. And we're using the cut side of the die. We're going to run it through the Gemini Junior. Okay, so if you were to run this through your Gemini Junior under the die cutting setting, it would have cut all of these hearts out. But because there's not enough pressure, there's a soft backing on this platform, it doesn't cut through. What it actually does is it leaves these cute little heart impressions wherever those dies are. So you can use your regular dies, not cutting them, but to use them to foil. If you wanted to add more hearts to that, you could. I like to reuse my foil. So we actually have another piece here, and we can just move these hearts around in different places again. Different placement, different sizes, whatever you want to do here. And again, just put this foil down. I'm going to reuse the foil. Yeah, there's going to be a couple places that are probably blank. It's okay. And then we're going to put this down over the foil and the die. And again, we have low. It's already on green for low. It's ready to go, 15 seconds. And then I want to try to do the same thing. I have some happy birthday sentiments. So I have some balloon dies. I believe these are my favorite thing, balloon dies. And we're going to put some balloons around these. So now we have some hearts, and because they're thin, it doesn't interfere with the look. It's kind of got this embossed look, but it has not cut through at all. So here we did 2 love sentiments with some hearts. Super cute, right? Okay, so let me show you how you can do the other side. The other way to do it is if you flip these over, okay? Now, if you flip these over, you are going to get a more solid image, but just remember that these heart dies have little circles cut into them because of the release spots. So, just to show you as a sample here, let me grab, I have a little piece of paper here. I'm going to use that same foil just for demonstration, and I'm just going to put a regular piece of cardstock in there. And again, we're going to do 15 seconds on low. It's not ready to go yet, so we need to wait for that to turn green. Doesn't take long. And while we're waiting, I will cut another piece of this foil for our happy birthdays. And one of the things you can do is you can have your, while we're waiting for this to heat up, let me move this out of the way. You can have your card panel ready to go. You can put your foil over it, and you can put your balloons down, and I have little pieces of Post-it tape here. I'm just going to slightly put some tape on the edge there, and I'm doing the cutting side down. And I know that happy birthday is kind of in the middle there, so this is going to be nice and thin. This is ready to go. We're going to hit start and let that count down 15 seconds. And then when that's done, we'll put this in the foiling plate upside down, and we'll see how these balloons come out. And we'll see if that Post-it tape affects it. I don't think it does, but we'll try it out. Now, the way I just did it with the dies face down, you want to be careful because if you're using a regular Gemini or you have too many shims in your machine, you don't want this cutting into your silicone mat. Now, I know mine is not going to cut in because I know what kind of pressure my machine has. If you're not comfortable doing it that way, if you're afraid it's going to cut into your silicone mat, you can use your metal shim. So you have your metal shim that came with your Gemini Junior. You can put it down that way, then put your dies down. If you wanted to use the more solid side, put your dies down, and then they'll go into your mat instead of cutting in. But I know mine's not going to cut in, so I'm pretty comfortable doing it that way. And here, it just didn't have enough heat to transfer over. We'll try it again in just a second here. I want to do this birthday one. We'll do this again with, actually, I'll just do it right now. So what we'll do is we'll put these back in. Random. We want the hearts, the solid side up, the die cutting side down, so it doesn't cut into our silicone plate. Okay, and then we're going to put that piece of foil down, and we want the pretty side down. We're going to put our cardstock back in there. And I'm actually going to give it a little bit more time to warm up. I'm still only going to do it on low because this is Gemini foil. But I'm going to do 30 seconds because we're heating through that plate now, okay? And because they're more solid images. So we're going to do low 30 seconds. So the solid, when you do a more solid regular die, it does, you need a little bit more. And because it's got a cutting surface, you do have to be careful because you don't want to put too many shims in there. You don't want it to cut through your cutting surface. You don't want it to cut through your plates or your silicone or anything like that. So you just got to take a little bit extra caution when you're using regular dies. And then we'll move on to the birthday ones. And I just heard the dies move, which you don't want to happen. Actually, I think I just thought of a better way to do it. Hold on. Let's try that again. I have another way to do it because I just heard all of those dies slide all over the place. All right, let's take these down. Let's take this down. Okay, let's use our magnetic shim. Okay, that's the magnetic shim that comes with the Gemini. I don't think this foiled any. Oh, it did a couple. Getting a cool little distressed heart background there. Put that back on. Let's just do it this way. Let's do these three. I think this is going to work better because it's going to hold the dies. It's going to give us pressure. And if it cuts into anything, it'll just cut in our magnetic mat, which is fine. Okay, we're going to do our low setting. I'm going to stick with the 30 seconds because we're going through the magnetic shim. Hit start. And then we'll do some happy birthdays. We should get more solid coverage this way. Always make sure all of our plates and shim are past this little guard there before we run it through the machine. I mean, you can use virtually any metal dies you have because as long as they conduct heat, they're going to be able to give an impression through the foil. All right, so there we have overfoiling because of how many times I've run it through. But, I mean, you can get the idea. We're going to do this with the birthday. And you can see this pressed into the magnetic mat now, but it didn't cut it. It didn't go all the way through, which is fine. This is my foil only magnetic mat. You can see I've used it several times. All right, let's do the birthday ones. So what I've done here is I've taken my happy birthday. I have taped on my foil and my dies, and I'm using the cutting side up. So we just want to do foiling. We do not want to cut. I'm going to make sure these are all, and we want to make sure our foil is not crinkled. It needs to be flat. And now we're just going to put our top plate on. Now because we are doing regular foiling, I'm dropping this back down. Let me reset this to 15 seconds. We don't want overfoiling. And overfoiling is when you have too much heat, too much pressure. It's just too hot. The Gemini foil is very sensitive. You want to keep it on low. 15 seconds is fine. We're going to hit start. And I'm using the cutting side of the balloons there. This is actually kind of neat how it had all the different hearts in there. And it's because we used it so many times it got so hot that it overfoiled. But we'll try it again with the balloons here. And I did practice with the balloons, and you can see here, this is what it should come out with. We'll see here. And this is using the cutting side. And then this was using the non-cutting side. Using some scrap pieces of foil. Okay, let's see if this worked. So again, we just have these little pieces of Post-it tape holding those dies on. Doesn't affect the foiling. And there we have some cute silver balloons with our happy birthday. All right, let's do a more solid image. So we have another happy birthday here, and here I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to put that foil back down. We're going to reuse the same foil. Okay, and I'm going to tape these dies down, cutting side up. And again, you want the pretty side of the foil up when we go to do this. Hold on. So this is a little different way of doing it, because instead of having the dies down, we have the paper down. All right, I'm going to keep this on low. I am going to go with a little bit higher setting, put my cutting plate on there. I'm going to do 30 seconds. Okay, so this is a backward sandwich. And the dies will go into my cutting plate, but again, it's not enough pressure to cut. It's just enough pressure to press those dies into the foil and imprint that foil. So we'll see how this works. Foils. I've been playing around with this thing for the last couple days and I forgot how much fun it is. Okay, we're gonna beep. Okay, so low, 30 seconds, doing a backward sandwich. Okay. Again, not enough pressure for the dies to cut into my plate. My plate is fine. We'll see how our balloons came out. Move this up away. Just gently take this Post-it tape off. I save it and reuse it. Gently pull our dies off. And I can see already, look at that, how cool we have these solid balloons. So you can use either side of the die and get two different images, and you can use a different color foil and go back in and use the thin side of the die and do multiple color balloons on here. That would be really neat too. So we have a thicker side, and here's this excess. You just scratch that off, it'll come right off. But you can use just, again, depending on the dies that you have. Now, word dies are going to be tricky because there's a lot of solid images, but when you have these kind of open dies like this, you can get a solid image or you can get a thin image, just depending on your sandwich. You don't have to worry about the die cutting through. It just gives a nice impression through the foil. I personally like the thinner, but that thick looks cool too. I mean, it really does look nice, and I think it looks really cool when you have solid images like the hearts when it works out. So I'll show it to you one more time. We're going to do the backward sandwich method here. So the backward sandwich method is you put your paper down. Let's find another one here. Okay. And then you're going to put your foil down. I'm going to reuse this foil here. Actually, I'm just going to do it. We'll just do on this side here. And then you're going to tape where you want your die to go. Just so it doesn't slide around when you're going through the machine. Let me put this piece of foil on the other side. And that's why I said always save your scraps, because you know, it's little things like this that you can reuse. Although this one's been pretty well used here. I don't know how well this is going to turn out. We'll try it out here. And again, you just want to be careful with your sandwiches and your temperature controls. Now that's got a big piece missing from the foil. Now I'm just being frugal here with reusing my foil. Of course, the nicer you want it to look, the nicer foil you're going to use. You don't want foil that's been taken out, because once that foil is removed off the release sheet, you're not getting that back. Okay, let's try that. We're going to put our top plate on. I'm going to do, again, 30 seconds. I don't even think we need 30 seconds. That might cause some overfoiling. I'm going to drop this down to 20 seconds. Okay, hit start. But I can cut these sentiments down, and now I can put them inside the card or on the front of the card. Really cute. Okay, let's see if we got birthday balloons here. Yay, there we go. And again, using the cutting site is just going to give you a really thin line. Really subtle. Now on this one, because I used that reused foil. Okay, this side didn't foil because maybe we just didn't do it long enough. Let's try this side again. How do we have this? Like this? Let's do it this way. Let's run these through again. That one's okay. It's not too bad. All right, I'm going to go back up to 30 seconds, see if that helps us out. Try that again. And then just save your foil and keep using it, because it's only a tiny little line of foil that is missing out of there. Try that. A little bit better. A little bit better. So we just have these tiny little balloon lines, and like I said, you can go in with different color foils and fill this whole thing up with balloons and make it look really cool. So I just wanted to show you guys the basics there of using regular dies, and just be careful. Again, you don't want to cut into your silicone mat. That one came out really nice. That one came out really nice. You don't want to cut into your silicone mat. It's okay to put the dies face up and have them cut into this. It's not going to hurt anything. But just be careful when you're doing that. Look how cool these came out. So yes, you can use regular dies in there. Just again, have to practice with your sandwiches and practice with your heat settings. If you have any questions, post them down below. Thanks for watching, and keep on foiling. Bye-bye.